Alright, so today I'm going to be replacing a shower valve in a shower. Show you guys how to do it super easy without having to have a plumber do it. It's actually not hard at all. I've been doing construction for like 25 years, so I can show you how to do it really easily. I'm actually an electrician, but plumbing is not hard at all. If you can do electrical work, you can definitely do plumbing work. I didn't have shut-offs. This bathroom was built into like an attic in my house. So when I did it, I didn't put shut-offs behind here for just this bathroom. So that's the first thing I did. So if you have access to behind your bathroom, it's gonna make everything a lot easier getting at the pipes and everything. If you don't have access, because you have to get to this valve to change it out. So you either have to come at it from the back or you have to come at it from the front. Obviously, if you come at it from the front, you're gonna have to take out, a tile or whatever you have in the shower, which is gonna be a big pain. If you can get at it from the back anyway, it's a lot easier. Even if you have to cut out a piece of drywall behind it, it's much easier just to fix a piece of drywall than it is to try to replace tile and do all that stuff. Just a little heads up. So if you can get it from behind a closet or a hallway or a bedroom, wherever the wall is behind the shower, like you can cut out the drywall behind that, that's the easiest way to do it. So go ahead and do that. I already have access back here because I have like a little storage area back here. So I'm able to like get into behind where I built the shower. Since I didn't have shutoffs, I put a new hot and cold shutoff right there, running over to where it was. I don't want to say anything about quick connect fittings watching this video. Let me just tell you, I've been doing plumbing work for over 20 years. Quick connect fittings have come a long way over the years. These newer style ones are rated to 250 psi. No one's house has anything close to that in psi. Normally it's around 60 coming from the city. If you have well in your own pump system, you can get up to like maybe 65 to get the filter, get water through the filters a little bit higher. Lots of people like to set it a little higher if you have the ability, but you're nowhere near the pressure rating on these fittings. Actually, some of these burst ratings under cold and hot are higher than a soldered copper pipe, which most people don't even know. So when they see a quick enough fitting, they're like, oh, I want a copper. They don't even realize that that copper pipe would actually burst faster than the quick connect fitting will, because this is brass and it's like in here good, you know what I'm saying? So these are newer 250 psi behind the wall rated in most counties. You can go in my basement. I have soldered copper. I have, plenty of that. I know how to do it. These older ones have been in here for 15 years. I have these in here. They've never leaked, never had a problem, nothing. I actually have just taken some off and re-put them on, and they still didn't leak 15 years later, which is kind of insane. So benefits of it are you can do it wet, you can do it dry, you can do a quick swap out fix if you need to. Most of the time, if you're using PEX or cPVC, you can use just a little cutter like this to come in and just cut the pipe, deburr it a little bit with one of these tools right here, and snap the new fitting on, and you're good to go. So trust me, save yourself a lot of time and problems, and just go with the quick enough fittings. There's some good brands on Amazon. SharkBite Ultras are obviously the oldest ones and the best ones, but lots of the companies out there, they're all pretty much the same now. They all pretty much have, the same technology. It's a brass fitting with a quick connect crimp like boot inside there that seals around the pipe. And like I said, they're rated up to 250 psi, 400 degrees or 600 degrees Fahrenheit, minus 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So, I mean, it's not going to break. If you put it on right, just make sure you deburr the pipe, stick it in all the way. It's got to go in about that far on each pipe. So as long as you just mark the pipe where you have to do it and stick it in all the way. Once it's in, if it's not leaking, it's never going to leak. Trust me. So when replacing a shower handle or shower valve, it's the same for a tub, shower, anything. If you're going to be replacing the shower head and the handle at the same time, whatever you are going to do, first thing you need to do is shut the water off. Like I said, I put shut-offs up here so I don't have to shut my whole house off. I can have just the bathroom up here shut off now. Then you gotta take this valve out. You're gonna start by taking the handle off on here. Since you can get to the back side, this is gonna be a lot easier. But like I said, if you can't, you just cut a hole in the drywall. Take the handle off. The cover will slide right off. There might be a couple screws that you'll see inside there to take out. And then whatever this is attached to in the back, sometimes it's a metal bracket, sometimes it's a piece of wood like this. Sometimes this actual valve is attached directly to like the side of like a 2x4 joist that's going up and down. Sometimes they come with brackets built on them that just extend out both ways to studs, and you screw them into the sides. However it's attached, you just detach it that way. And since the water's shut off, once it's detached and the thing's off the side and you can take it out, this whole thing just comes out. If you have quick connect fittings, you can just pop the quick connect fittings off. I would recommend using new ones if they're going into the valve. So sometimes you have them going directly into the valve. Sometimes you'll have like a galvanized pipe or a copper, and then you have the quick connect attached to that afterwards. Or if you have copper and you're not using quick connects, whatever you want to do, take it off, put the new one in, reattach it. If you need to, you can always cut down here. So the thing that I want to do is shut the water off. There will usually be a small Allen bolt holding the handle on somewhere on here. Got the right one. Just got to break it free. It's usually not on there very tight. It's just on there hard enough to hold the handle on. That's off. These all get attached differently. Sometimes if it's not stuck, sometimes you put a bead of silicone around it. I don't remember exactly how I did this one, but it's threaded, so this might, sometimes this screws in to hold it. There we go. You just want to be careful because you don't want to damage whatever tile you have here. Yeah, I didn't think I did a bead of silicone. But see, now this is basically just sitting here. So now you can come at the back, disconnect everything, slide this out, hook up the new one. The valve will slide through like this, and then there'll be a different cover we're going to put on the outside. It'll attach somehow on this one. Sometimes it's a screw, sometimes it's something like this. This stuff works really good if you guys need anything to ever get rid of this kind of color stuff. It's called Goof Off Rust Aid. This stuff like will literally like melt it. I'm almost out of this bottle, but this stuff would literally just rinse off. If you let it sit for a minute, it just rinses off. You can see how it's already coming off, but just a little bit of scrubbing with a rag, it's gonna come right off. That's what it looks like after you clean it up. This stuff, like I said, gets rid of all that lime and stuff really good. So this one is attached with a bracket to it. Looks like I might be able to get to some of them. The way I put this in though, I'm gonna have to take this whole piece of wood out and then re-put a new bracket on, just because when I was building this, I just kind of like, this was just like a project I was doing in my spare time. This wasn't for a job or anything. So I just kind of like pieced everything in, get it to work, and I just had some drywall I put up over this part right here to like fill in the space, which I already took out. What I have this for? Probably hanging a light or something. Hopefully I can get this out. Go. Not too bad. Alright, so now we just want to take the old one out. And the good thing about this is we could probably just leave most of this connected at first. And I can just pop these off. Make sure you got a towel down here, or a bucket. Just all the water that was in the line going up to the shower head. Shouldn't be much. This is a nice tool that takes all these fittings off. It works with any kind of fitting or pipe, copper, PEX, cPVC. Got different, does 1/2 inch, 3/4, or 1 inch. Depending on if it doesn't fit around here though, a little trick is, so you can't get to a 1/2 inch on a fitting like this, just stretch it out, put it up over the whole thing. And then you can pop it off. I'm gonna be using new fittings anyway, so it doesn't matter if you damage this. Alright, so this is my new one. It's basically the same thing. This one's gonna have a little valve that goes up and turns. The reason why I'm replacing mine is because my son, when he was younger, used to just yank on this when he was in the shower, and he damaged it eventually to the point where, like, if you turn it too far one way, the water just shuts off. It stops being hot. And I've tightened it and adjusted it a couple times, but it's seen its days, you know what I mean? So I'm just replacing it. This is just a new one. It's just for a shower, because this is a shower up here. There's no tub, so it's a little different, but you're gonna have hot, cold going up to the shower. It's going to fit in here like this. You're going to have a cover that's going to go on from the outside. You just want to make sure that this is not sticking out further than your finished wall. It's pretty much the only thing you have to worry about, because the new valve stem cover is going to go only onto like here, because it circles. So you can have that much play in and out of the wall, as long as the back part doesn't go past your finished wall, so you don't see it, you know what I mean? Teflon tape, obviously a must for the threads. The instructions will probably say you don't need to use plumber's putty. I'm old school. I like to do things old school. And anyone who's done old school plumbing knows that you always put a little pipe dope on the threads going in. You don't have to do anything crazy, but just to help seat the threads and give it a little bit more watertight seal. It's up to you. Like I said, I always do it. Makes me feel better. I know they say the new Teflon tape, they have all that crazy stuff like the Gorilla Tape and all this other stuff where it's like, you don't need to and whatever. So it's up to you. Don't use the pipe dope if you don't want to, but for me, it's not worth the 69 cents or whatever it costs. You know what I mean? We did a lot of talk about these quick connect fittings, but an important thing to remember is make sure you install them properly, okay? So make sure this gets seated all the way. Put lots of Teflon tape on it. Screw it down nice and tight. Make sure this gets seated all the way. When in doubt, go around again. If you have to, go around. If you can't get it to line up the way you want it, you're better off seating this tight and then making a bend on your pipe to get it to fit in. Most of the time, it'll just be like maybe like a 45 or something, or a 30-degree angle. But if you don't have this seated all the way, it'll leak right here and then you're screwed, you know? So just make sure it's tightened down all the way. That's pretty much all you have to worry about. Yeah, because these are going to have to come up a little, but yeah, it should fit pretty good. We'll do the bottom ones first. So like I said, these just snap on. So make sure this white ring, the old ring inside, goes in the pipe. Once it's on like that, you want to seat it all the way down like this. Make sure it's seated all the way. Oops. Good thing I already had that one on. This is going to sit all the way up past this line. You can mark the pipe if you want with the notch. If you use the burring, the D-burr, it'll come down to about right there. Just draw like a line with a Sharpie, but I've done this so many times that I can just push a line now when it's seated. See, that's good. It's not going anywhere. Alright, so this one seems like a little rough, like the old fitting was grabbing it really tight, so good thing I have a lot of play in here, so I'm just going to cut a clean edge and deburr it so you guys can see how that works. It's way bigger. So let's see what happened. Oh yeah, see? The inside of this? Oh, that's crazy. The old fitting is stuck in there. Look at this. That's what an airtight seal this makes. Watertight seal. The old fitting is stuck inside there. That's why it wouldn't go in. That came out when I pulled the old one out. So I had to cut it clean. So now, look how much bigger that side is. So now it's going to have like a clean edge, big hole to go through. That is insane. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. I could tell by how tight it was being grabbed on, but that is stuck in there like tight. Plus it being hot water. That's what I'm saying. Once these things are on, if they're not leaking, they're never going to leak. I wouldn't recommend reusing them like they say you can. They say they're reusable and all that kind of nonsense. I say use it once to get the life out of it. If you're ever redoing some work, just get a new fitting. You know, it's not worth it. I mean, nowadays these things are so cheap. They're almost as cheap as regular copper fittings, you know? Or regular brass fittings that you'd solder copper onto. There we go. Okay, back on this side, there's a little rubber gasket. Before you screw it down on the other side, there's a little rubber gasket. Oh, let me see if I can get you guys to see it. That goes on the back of this plate. It attaches to the back of the plate. It slides on the metal shaft of the valve, but it attaches to this metal plate. It only fits on if you take this little circle part off. So if there's any confusion of how these go on, this unscrews. Hold on one second. Okay. This unscrews. There's a gasket on the back of this. It attaches to this metal plate. It slides on this metal shaft, but it only fits on if you take this ring off, which I've now screwed back on, but whatever, look there. See, so that comes off. Then you can slide this plate on. This is how most of them are. And then the rubber gasket on the back of that allows you to like set a depth where it kind of holds it in place. perfect. Why does things have such a hard time going on straight? The threads are just like cheap plastic. There we go. There we go. See? Now. Perfect. A little silicone. Oh, look at that. Perfect clearance. Can't get better than that. Just tighten everything up. There we go. Nice and smooth, perfect clearance, cold, hot. Now I'm gonna do a little bead of silicone around the outside here, clean. This is nice and solid now, so I don't have to worry about the pipe. And those worked out perfect. So I'm gonna turn all the water on, make sure there's no leaks, then I'll show you that it worked. So that's pretty much it, guys. It's the new shower handle and valve put in a shower. It's the same for any kind of shower. Doesn't matter what you have, what you want to do, what kind of shower it is, rain shower, small shower, big shower, they all work the same. I'm going to be putting some new shower heads in and stuff, but you guys don't need to see all that. Well, here it is, all siliconed up and in. Clear silicone, you can't even see. It's all good to go.